What's up, folks? Sean the Average Angler coming at you with another great video. Today we're going to give you a couple of techniques to catch more fish in the fall. I'm going to explain why. These were not part of my October baits, but they're very, very crucial in two different situations. We're going to go over that here in just a minute. If you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Join the Average Angler community where I just come in here almost daily and try to help you catch more fish. Something I give you during the week is going to help you out. I guarantee it. So have a seat. Join us. Watch till the end because sometimes the best information comes at the backside. All right, so we got fall time coming right now. Where I'm at, it's kind of coming, but there's some things that will change what's going on. Okay, the fish have already changed in the aspect of the days are getting shorter, and they know fall and winter is ahead. So they are moving towards preparing. However, what they're doing and what else is happening is not always just dictated by the bass, but their forage base. Oftentimes we relate the fall to shad, and hey, with good reason. Those fish are typically the easiest to find. Very easy to catch when you find them, and they're easier to track. Doesn't change the fact that there are other fish at all times that may be feeding on something different, so their fall migration or pattern change may not be the same, and sometimes there may not be a change. Just the numbers of fish involved is probably going to be the difference. So if you find these fish shallow, and this is what happens on my local lakes, okay, is the fish follow that bait. It's not the fish necessarily wanting to go shallow, it's that the bait's going shallow. And bait tends to move towards the backs of things, okay? I have a natural lake, I have highland reservoirs, we've got regular lakes. And we've got tidal waters. Tidal waters, none of this really applies. The patterns do, except that they're not moving to the backs of creeks. Quite honestly, they don't all move to the backs of creeks. I think what it is this is an easy place to find them. Okay, it's a smaller area, much easier to find them. The thing is, most people know about this now. Places that I like to look, and I'm going to give you one tidbit right here, and that is neck down areas. So somewhere that shrinks down, like say the mouth to a marina perhaps. Somewhere that the bass can push those shad back into the marina, and then they can just guard that mouth of the marina and feed on those shad when they try and come out. This is how they keep them pinned back in there. In times like these, a great bait to fish. Very, very effective in shallow water. And especially when you're dealing with the shad, because this time of year, especially when we get some good cold snaps, you can have a bit of a shad die-off. And that's a great time to throw a fluke. This one here happens to be a Phat Pak's Drunken Shad. Okay, and I love the name Drunken Shad because that's really what we kind of want to make it look like in the water, right? Sometimes it's going to be fast, erratic motions where you twitch, 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 making it jump out of the water sometimes. And other times we're going to let it sit and just meander down to the bottom like it's dying. You just got to figure out which way they want it. And it's quite possible they could want it both ways. So one of the cool things about Phat Pak Baits is if you see right over here, this is a 20 count pack, okay? They come in multiple pack sizes, so you can pick the pack size. The bigger the pack, the cheaper it is. Cheaper per bait. And they're very, very reasonable compared to a lot of other big names, and I'll tell you why. They're made in America. There's no tariffs or any of that kind of stuff on it. And there's a couple of ways I like to fish these, okay? One is going to be on a spinning rod. You'll see that there. This is a 7-foot medium spinning rod. Braid to leader, fluorocarbon is what I typically use. If I want to keep the bait up more, I might use mono. Mono floats, fluorocarbon sinks. So if you want your bait to sink easier, it's going to sink because of the hook anyway. But it will sink easier with fluorocarbon than it will mono. If you want it to stay higher up in the column, use some mono. That's one way to adjust your rate of fall and what that bait's doing. Now the other is the hook, and here you will see a standard 3/0 regular wire hook. Okay, it's just a Gamakatsu EWG regular old 3/0 hook. Now, if you want to sink it a little faster and maybe use a casting rod, that's when you want to go to that super line hook. This is going to cause the bait to fall a little bit faster. You're also going to have a little bit more weight. Makes it a little easier to cast on the casting rod, okay? I'm still going to do the same thing. I don't typically go braid to fluorocarbon on casting, but for this type of setup, I might. Although a lot of times I just stick with 15-pound fluorocarbon, 16-pound fluorocarbon, somewhere right in there, and I'll just fish it as is because that's the rod I have with me, okay? So that covers the shallow stuff, and the fluke is a fantastic way, and let's make no mistake, that guy's not drunk, but we want to make him look like a drunken shad, and it is made after the good old fluke. They come in a lot of great colors. By the way, this color is called Golden Money Minnow, okay? It's a great color. It's one of my favorites by Phat Pak Baits. So that's our shallow fish. Now let's talk about, now these are going to be two groups. It's going to be the group that's out there to begin with. And we're talking out off the bank, okay, in a little deeper water. Say 12 foot and deeper. And the fish that when that cold snap comes and that bait pushes out, all these fish come following them, right? Now when that happens, those fish that were out there may follow the bait also, even if they were on a crawdad type of diet, or perhaps they were on bluegill or some other type of bait fish you might have in your lake. That's where doing a little research to know what the forage base is in the lake can go a long way, so we're not having to try 40 different baits. One that I really like this time of year that doesn't get talked about a whole lot for the fall for some reason is a swing head. You'll see that I got a 3/4 ounce swing head, and I like the 3/4 ounce for multiple reasons, okay? One, the head's bigger so it doesn't get hung up as easy. Two, it causes a lot of commotion when you're reeling in a cross bottom. Now the key to fishing these, honestly, is finding the right pace for that day. So you may need to experiment a little bit with your retrieval speed. Now, first of all, most of the time I fish this on a 7.4 to 7'6" heavy. I like something with a little bit more moderate bend to it, not necessarily like a fast, say a medium fast, something like that. Two, I really like this head, and you'll see right here there's something very, very unique, and that is a split ring. Now the reason I like the split ring is because depending on the bait you're fishing on here, you can change out the hook. Now, they come with a 5/0 Superline hook, Gamakatsu, or I'm sorry, Owner, because these are the Owner pivot head. The problem is they were taken off the market long, long ago. Or maybe they really weren't, because I've been buying them off of eBay for the past 5 years. They're really reasonable when you get in the right auction. But the beauty is I can change this out. I can go down to a 3/0 light wire hook, a 3/0 standard hook. I can go to a 5/0 standard hook. Now, if you look at my bait here, and this is a 4-inch Swamp Monster by Phat Pak, this is a little more hook than I'd like for this bait. Okay, so I'd really like to drop that down to probably just a 3/0 standard wire hook. Or if I'm really tangling with big fish, I can use that 3/0 Superline hook. It's still going to bring that hook in some so that I got a little more bait behind the bite. Now, will this work? Absolutely. See, I come through the last ring there. It's just a lot of hook on there. However, we're not going to be stopping this bait. We're going to keep it moving. We want to skitter that bait slowly across the bottom so that it's bouncing and deflecting off of stuff, causing a little dust plume behind it. That's one of the advantages of using a heavier head, is it's going to leave a trail, and you want to keep it bumping bottom where fish can track it. They can see something's there, they think something's trying to get away from them, and it just really intrigues them. So if they're on a bottom type of bite, and really any type of fish that's down on the bottom, the swing head works really, really good. It's very similar to that of digging a crankbait, except this is much less work, and quite honestly, equally effective a lot of the times. Sometimes it's better, sometimes the crankbait's a little better. This is a great technique for those offshore fish or out a little deeper fish where that fluke just becomes a little more challenging to fish. or they're on a different forage base. Now you can just change colors of these baits, whether you are fishing a forage base of bluegill, you could be fishing a forage base of crawdads, could be sculpin, could be baby catfish, could be whatever your lake has that your fish like to eat, can be really good. Now, I will show you the other great thing about the swing head is you can pretty much pick your poison on what type of bait you want to throw on it. Here is another one that's just fantastic on the swing head. And one thing that I like to look for on the swing head most of the time is some sort of kicking appendages. And you will see here on the back of this claw, kicking appendages, right? So those claws are going up and down as you're retrieving that. Kind of like saying bye-bye. That's one thing that I really like to have on my swing head, is something that is kicking, causing commotion, creating some extra action. And again, you just switch colors based on the forage. Maybe you use a blue craw if you're on a bluegill type fishery, so forth and so on. All right, I hope these two tips helped you. These two techniques will always be on my deck in the fall. I'm Sean, the Average Angler. Oh yes, and since you're still here, I don't know if you guys have that hype button on your phone when you're watching my video, but if you do, can you push that for me? I just want to see if it has any real effect. And thanks for watching the video to the end, because that does help the algorithm quite a bit. I'm Sean, the Average Angler. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.